and we are recording on the audio. And here we go. And welcome. As Clubhouse chatter continues, here's Normor Dez.
Hey, that's right, and we are back. It has been a crazy day for Clubhouse chatter, and our guest today is former first-round draft pick of the San Francisco Giants out of St. Augustine High School in San Diego, California, the good doctor, John D Acquisto. John, how's it going?
Pretty good. How you doing, Norm?
I'm doing good. Hey, I have a question for you.
Happy belated Thanksgiving to you.
Hey, how was your Thanksgiving, by the way?
Oh, it was great.
Good.
I did a rotisserie chicken. Listen to me. A rotisserie turkey, and it came out fabulous. And my sister and brother-in-law were here to celebrate with us, and a couple other friends of ours, and we had one great time.
So that is good. I ended up working a shift until about 2:45, and then had Thanksgiving with the family. It was the first without Dad, so it was kind of weird, but it was a good Thanksgiving. It went off a lot better than I thought it would have.
Yeah, ours was very peaceful, nice and quiet, and no, how we say, nothing seriously out of whack. Everything was copacetic. Good. So I have a quick question. So in 1977, you were traded by the Cardinals to the San Diego Padres, and you were traded with Pat Scanlan. Correct.
Do you know if Pat Scanlan, is he any relation to Big Bob Scanlan?
I don't know that for a fact. You mean the radio broadcaster for the Padres?
Yep.
I am not sure about that. In fact, I'm going to have to say I won't answer that, but I can find out for you.
Yeah, I just saw the last name, and I just thought about Big Bob, and so just kind of an interesting question.
It's not a common name.
Nope.
And am I correct in saying that Bob left the Padres announcing?
I don't know. I think he's still there. I think I've seen a couple of posts.
I had heard that he was leaving.
Huh. I'll have to check that out.
So, I check it out and see.
I'll have to check it out.
I thought I had heard that last year was his last year, and he was going on to bigger and better things.
Interesting. Well, good for Bob. I had chatted with Bob a couple of different times when he was playing with the I can't remember. It was like the Iowa Cubs. He'd come through Portland, Oregon, and we caught up with Bob a couple of different times. I'm pretty sure it was when he was with the Iowa Cubs, AAA, and nice guy, tall, lanky guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
he's very tall. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he has left. Yes, you are correct. So interesting.
Okay.
So it's going to be interesting to see what he does. He does a good job.
Yeah, exactly. I liked him a lot. He was really good.
So how was your... Go ahead.
No, please.
How was your Arizona Fall League?
It was great. We were fortunate enough to work every day here. And I was based primarily out of Scottsdale, which is the Giants hub.
Right.
And I got to see some of the young Giant talent down there, which was, real refreshing to see these kids, play and what was coming. The league was very strong this year with the hitters, good ball players, kids that knew how to play the game, which was very refreshing to see. The pitching was pretty good, too, pretty dynamic. Kansas City looked really strong with their kids. The Giants threw out Ray Black, and they had a couple other kids there that Mesa. He pitched. He looked good. Not real overpowering, but a good pitcher. Through strikes. And then they had the kid, I guess, that's down there working on, the role that Jeremy Alflat had.
Mm-hmm.
he looked good too. He's got a great breaking ball. He was very effective. Didn't give up many runs. And then you had Christian Arroyo, who is a pure stud.
He is.
He is a great player. He's one of those kids that is a baseball player. In other words, great instincts. He can run. He can hit. He's got a little bit of power, but he hits in the gaps. He hits your extra base hit. He can steal bases. He's got a strong arm, and potentially could play the outfield. So that's a big plus for the Giants. If they're looking to, fill that spot, and wherever that case may be in left, then that would be a pretty good move for them. Other than that, there was some pretty good talent. And we worked on the pace of game, for the commissioner's office, and that went really well. The kids picked up on that really quick because most of them had experienced it in AA and AAA.
Right.
And so it went really well. There were hardly any violations by the kids, and the kids responded well to the 15-second pitch clock and adapted to it. And it went smooth. We had games. We were averaging games around 215, 220.
Oh wow!
Which, a lot better than 315 and 320. So we shaved almost an hour off of a big league ball game. And so, I got the big thumbs up for that program. It looks good. If they can work it out, it's going to be a big asset to help speed up the pace of play in Major League Baseball.
So Christian Arroyo came through Salem Kaiser here a couple of years ago, and so we got to watch him play there. Also, you had a kid, Mac Williamson, who came in.
Mm-hmm.
He's a power hitting. Another guy who can hit the power and hit the gaps and stuff like that. Played up as he played at San Jose in AA.
He looked strong too. Norm. He hit the ball well. He played good outfield. Just a big kid.
Yep.
He responded well to the pitching, and the pitching was pretty high-low. He faced a lot of good AAA and potential big league prospect pitchers that had the basic slider and the changeup and good fastball, and he did well. He responded well. There were a lot of kids that were there that this kid Eric Sanchez from the Yankees, he's fabulous catching prospect, strong arm. He would throw guys out from the crotch position.
Wow.
And I went, oh my goodness, I haven't seen that in a long time. And plus, he's got the power.
Right.
He's not the type of catcher that can run, but most catchers can't run.
Right.
But he's got enough speed there, to get himself around the bases. But hitting wise, he hit for average and he hit home runs. And so the Yankees got themselves one heck of a player there.
So the word on black for the Giants is that he's raw, but he has touched. He's got Aroldis Chapman fastball-like speed. I've heard him touching 101, 102. What did you think about him?
We had him. Yeah, that's right, Nori. We had him touching out at the tops at about 103.2. He was getting it up there pretty consistently at 100 plus. His breaking ball, he was trying to work on his slider a little bit, because he's going to need that second pitch when Mr. Fastball isn't around, to make his fastball look a little bit better. He was working on it a lot. He still needs a little bit more work on it. And I know he just came off of Tommy John surgery here recently, so that's something that he's going to have to work on a little bit more, in my opinion. But other than that, his fastball is big leg. It's tops. It's tops, and he was pretty consistent with it too.
Good. At one point, everybody. So in your era of baseball, everybody talks about Nolan Ryan and his fastball, but you had a fastball. From what I've heard of people that actually topped Nolan Ryan's.
That is correct.
And you were what was the high? What was the fastest you were clocked at?
Well, I was clocked at the end of the season on September the 2nd in 1974, documented by Bill James, who wrote the book The Almighty Fastball, at 102.4, and the Jugs gun was 5 mile an hour slow.
Good gosh.
So you add 5, and it's 107.4.
Good gosh. How in the heck?
And that was at the end of the season, Norm. That was at the end of the season.
How in the heck do you hit
during the season?
Holy crap.
Probably higher than that. Who knows?
How does one hit?
You know, I couldn't tell you. All I know is that Dave Rader and Mike Sadek always came back to me with their hands bruised and, you know, black and blue, saying, "My God, you're killing me." And they tried batting gloves and foam rubber in the batting gloves, and it just would flatten the foam rubber. And you know, and then Rader would try to play burnout, and so would Sadek. You know, they try to burn me out, and I didn't have any padding, so they were just getting back at me. But there were times when I would go out to a game, and I'd call them out to the mound. I said, "Look, we got a good fastball today. Let's just go with that. And if I want to throw a breaking ball, I'll just touch the bill of my cap, and you know, on a natural motion, like I'm straightening out my hat, and we'll throw a curveball." And that was it. That was it. 90-10.
Wow.
90% fastballs and 10% or maybe 5% curveballs.
Wow. What do you think about, so David Price signed with the Red Sox today for 7 years, what was it, $217 million?
$31 million a year.
$31 million a year. Is a pitcher worth $31 million a year? You're only rolling them out every 5 days.
No.
That's crazy.
Just plain answer, no. You know, I've been a firm believer for years. You get a base salary, and then the rest is incentive base. If you perform, you get. Okay? I've been a big advocate about those kind of contracts. You know, God bless the guys for getting the money. You know, we got it. You know, I was $1.5 million a player, you know, when money was a lot smaller back when. And, you know, and I thought I was grossly overpaid. But did I take the money? Yeah, I took the money. Yeah.
You'd be fool not to, you know?
Yeah, exactly. They were willing to give it, so, yeah, okay, I'll sign right here. You know, but it's like, to justify something like that, I mean, you know, baseball makes a lot of money in advertising and you know, the promotion of the game and attendance and, you know, things like that. And, you know, obviously they can afford to pay it.
Right.
So if they can afford to pay it, and they're not going out there and trying to change the system and you know, the free enterprise, you know, let it be where it is. But in my opinion, I'm going to say this, and I'll say it clear. There's no athlete that is worth that kind of money, okay, to play a game.
I would agree with you.
And
you know,
and it needs to be corrected. It needs to be corrected. And you know, it's just I don't know if I can say this on radio, but it bastardizes the game.
Right. Right. You know, I find it crazy, you know, here in America, you know, I mean, I love our professional athletes and stuff like that. And yeah, you know, they're entertainers for the most part. But like you said, it's a game. And, you know, I'm a firm believer that, you know, I mean, you have school teachers out there, you've got firefighters, police officers, you know, who are not making a heck of a lot. And yet you get paid $31 million a year.
And doing a lot to keep us free.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I'll give you an example. If it were me, and I'm gonna touch on one thing. I'm gonna say this first, and then I'll touch on one thing to show you what a real man in Clayton Kershaw and what he did was absolutely fabulous. But if I were to get that kind of money, $231 million, okay, or $217 million over a 7-year period, I would give, and I'm with the $31 million, I don't need that kind of money to live on.
Right.
Okay? I would go to where the teachers in that area in the school area that are hurting for supplies for the kids, I would go to those schools and donate to those teachers. I'd give to them to go buy supplies and things for those kids so they would have the proper supplies and books and things for school. Okay, do something good with that money. You know, you go a step further. Of course, it's going to be a tax write-off. You're donating.
Right.
But you're doing something good. You were fortunate enough to get that kind of money. Well, give back to the kids, to the children, okay, that need it, and the teachers that need it. You know, make life better, even though you were benefiting from it. Make it better. Clayton Kershaw donates almost, you know, a large portion of his salary to underprivileged children in Africa.
Wow.
Okay, and you know, and okay, that's a good thing. You know, you're doing something good with the money because see, he believes in the same thing, that he's giving back to where it's needed in the world. All right, I'm a firm believer. Charity begins at home. I believe in helping a lot of people, but charity begins at home. We help our own first, and if we got any left over, we help someone else in another country.
Right.
All right, but you know, everybody needs that type of attitude in this world, and we'd probably be a lot better world for it. Very
true. Very true. I do like the school idea. I think for me, you know, my dad was a 21-year veteran of the United States Army, served in the Vietnam War, and in the end, complications from Agent Orange claimed his life. So his diabetes, his congestive heart failure, all stemmed from Agent Orange in Vietnam. Now the government will tell you, yeah, you're full of crap. But you know, my mom gets a little bit of a stipend from the United States government for that. You know, I would give back. I mean, you look at our veterans coming back from Afghanistan, Iraq, and everything going on, and you know, they're getting hosed. You know, they're getting hosed by our own government.
There's another spot. There's another spot that could use help. You know, the veterans coming home, okay? Helping them get acclimated into society. I mean, we're doing some things for it, but
we're not doing enough.
In a war, we don't do enough.
We don't do enough.
And a player that gets that kind of money could really help out, and it'd be a really, really good community service to help those veterans coming back. You know, giving them shelters, building shelters. You've got enough money there to build a whole building, for crying out loud. Let's take care of these kids. Let's take care of these fighting men and women. Let's take care of the people that need help. Let the athletes that make the kind of money help these people out. Okay?
Right.
And then maybe it'll be paid forward when the good happens to the kids. To get a better education because they have the right supplies, and the vets that come home and can acclimate back into society again, and they proceed on to better lives and become good members of society, and we're all working together, don't you think things would be better around here?
Oh, heck yeah. What do you think, Brian?
Okay, exactly. So, you know, I mean, that's what I would do personally if I made that kind of money, but I can't tell anyone to do that.
Right.
You know, but you know, that's just my personal opinion on what I would do if I had that kind of money. Because I know I gave back a large portion of my salary back into the community for book reading programs and charities that were in San Diego, California at the time. And, you know, that was the proper thing to do. And
absolutely.
To be involved.
Absolutely. So let's change speeds a little bit. Let's talk about your artwork. You've got a pretty cool little thing going on.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. You know, Norm, I did it as a hobby. Okay, just playing around, and you know, and little here, little there. I draw a picture, nothing, you know, fancy. And then all of a sudden, these iPad programs came out to draw. Okay, to actually draw and sketch, and you know, and it provided you with a stylus pen to use on the iPad. And so you could actually draw a picture. Well, I started messing around with that, and then I got into 6 more programs that I saw that were pretty neat. And you could draw the subject matter, add your color, add your technique, and then all of a sudden these things started turning up, and it was surprising not just me but my wife. And then I was asked to do the 3 captains picture for my boss at MLB. And so that was Derek Jeter, Lou Gehrig, and Thurman Munson. So I did the picture. It was a collage. You've seen the collages.
Yes.
I have one on your site. And so I did the collage for him, and I sent it to him. It was a 16 by 20 piece on canvas. And he flipped. He goes, are you going to sell any of this? I can't sell any of it. I don't have a license. I can do them as, favors, I mean, as you ask me to do something, I'll do it for you, and draw it for you if you're a friend, but I said, I'm not really, I can't afford, a Major League Baseball license. I mean, they're expensive.
Right.
And he says, well, let's see what we can do. So he pulled a couple of strings for me, made a couple of phone calls, and next thing I know, I'm talking to Michael Posner, who's in charge of marketing at MLB. And Michael put me in touch with a gentleman named Dan Duffy, who is legendary Sport Prince, has a license. And Dan and I got together, and we negotiated a contract, and so I got a signed contract with Dan for 2 years to produce my artwork.
Nice. And you do, I mean, like you said, you did something, you did a nice deal for us. You've also done stuff for Padres 360, and I mean, you do some amazing stuff. Usually,
I appreciate that.
Usually, so a little bit about John is if a former major leaguer, former ball player passes away, John will do a collage and tell about that player. And, right. I mean, a lot of it, and I've shared some of that with our followers and and I mean, it's just, it's gorgeous.
Well, Normie, the thing that I've seen in the past, I mean, there's been some obituaries written about players and things, but that are nice. I mean, they're nice, but they're just words explaining what the guy was, who he was, and what he did.
Right.
I take it a step further and create a picture. Something that can be remembered by his family, something they could put up on the wall that they can cherish the rest of their life. Instead of just a memory of that spirit of who that person was or that player was, they have something they can cherish the rest of their life. And in doing that, I just started doing those and then writing a little obituary background, getting some historical information about the player, different sites, and then doing a write-up, and then putting the write-up with the picture. But if you read the write-up and the picture coincide with each other. Mm-hmm. And it took off. So now every time someone passes away, I get a phone call, I get emails. Hey, did you know so and so passed away? You need to do a collage for them. Well, it turned out to be we've had a lot of guys pass.
We have
almost 100 collages on guys. And I did some on past guys that have already passed away, just to honor them on their birthday, or if it was going to be their birthday, I would do things like that. One of the favorite ones for me was the one when Yogi Berra passed away. And I did the Gary Carter, Yogi Berra were arm in arm at Shea Stadium. So I said, God, what a great picture. What a great picture, what a great subject line. Now if I can get that and sketch the cornfield and get Yogi Berra and Gary in front of that cornfield, then I'm rocking. Okay? So I tried it. and it didn't work. I tried it again. I finally got the cornfield in. I got Gary and Yogi in there. They didn't look right, and I tried again. I tried different sizes, and to make the ratio out right. And finally, I hit it. I got it, and I put the picture up, and it literally explains the emotion of the passing of Yogi, that he was headed to the cornfield for the Field of Dreams. Then Sandy Carter calls me, Gary's wife, and says, that was Gary's favorite movie.
That's awesome.
That about took me off of my chair. And I said, you got to be kidding me. I didn't know that. She goes, oh, no, John, that was his favorite movie. And I said, well, isn't that interesting? I said, she goes, I'll buy the picture from you. I said, you don't have to buy anything from me. I'll give you the picture. So I took the original and put it together for her and sent it off to her, along with 3 other ones that I did of Gary and of her family. She wanted me to sketch some of the kids, so I sketched some of the kids with her, and she's got them up on the wall. And she called me back. She goes, every day I look at that picture, and she goes, I touch it. I touch it. I said, see, now you got something special. And you know what? Gary caught me when I was at Montreal, and it makes it even more special because we were close friends.
Right.
And, and it's being able to do that for the guys and their families is a key thing. And it just makes me feel good inside to be able to do that. And I enjoy doing it because it keeps me at peace of mind, and I get to express myself and find good subject matter and get to do things. And I just finished one today. It's called Hall of Fame 1979, Texas Rangers versus San Diego Padres. And I just finished that one today. And I'll tell you what, it came out really good. And, it's like you look who's there. There's Pat Corrales, Al Oliver for Texas, Ricky Zisk, Billy Sample, and in that game, on the other side of the board, you got Mickey Lolich, Gaylord Perry,
Wow.
Doug Rader was a coach, and Roger Craig was manager, Whitey Wheelman, Donnie Williams, Chuck Estrada was a pitching coach, and you go right down the line and you see all the players that were there on both sides, and you go, my God, those are 2 proverbial all-star teams. And they're both up and on the site now. So, doing things like that is fun. And it's very gratifying. And it has turned into something. It's not a blustering business yet, but, I don't really want it to be. I just want to do these pieces and have fun doing it and get them out, That's it.
So you did a piece here a while back. It's about a month ago. George Genovese. And I had him on the show about a month before he passed away. And man, I'm telling you, John, I got screwed. I got screwed because I didn't find George earlier on. And I mean, I love talking baseball with the elder statesmen of the game. And, I chat with Bobby Winkles, former Arizona State head baseball coach down in California. Talked to Bobby. I tried to talk to him at least once a month. And George was one of those guys who, I would have loved to have opened up and chatted with him, and he would have been willing to do it. And what did tell us a little bit about George. What did he mean to you?
Well, George gave me my chance to be a big league ball player. And, it's like, you look at all the people that George signed, Bobby Bonds, Gary Maddux, Gary Matthews, Chris Arnold, me, Jim Barr, Dave Kingman, go down the line. I mean, that's just naming a few.
It's an all-star team.
And obviously every one of the guys George signed made it to the big leagues. You know, it's like, how much did this man know about talent? You know, it was like, he is the guru of gurus for scouts.
Yep.
George was impeccable. I remember him coming down to San Diego and negotiating with my mother, because my mom was my agent at the time. And, boy, you should have seen those two Italians going at it. Oh, my God. My mom was just as tough as George, and George looked at me. I said, don't look at me. Talk to her. And he goes, oh, come on, you know. He goes, we want you to play. We want you to play. What, are you going to go to school? You going to go to USC? I said, yeah, I'm thinking of going to SC. You know, because, you know, if something happens to me, I got something to fall back on. You know, so he goes, but you're going to play football, too. And I said, yeah, I'm going to play. Well, I don't recommend you playing football. He says, I'll even go and talk to John McKay about that. I said, well, you can do what you want, but, you know, if I go to school, I got to do what I'm going to do when I go to school. So, it was a tough to go, but George hung in there. George hung in there. I took off and went to Hawaii with my cousin. And when I came back to pitch in the North-South All-Star game in Anaheim, George was there. So was Rod Dato from USC. Rod Dato came up to me and said, well, we got you 2-year scholarship, and you got to get your other 2 years with John McKay, okay, playing football. So you're going to have to do 2 and 2. And if you do well, we'll think about making it a 4-year scholarship with just baseball if you decide to go that route. And I'm going, okay. And then George came up and flashed the contract in my face, and he says, is this what you want? And I said, yes, it is. He says, here's a pen. Let's sign it and get moving. That was it. George went and got the money that I wanted and my education. And what did I want in my contract? I wanted a 4-year college education, and he got it for me.
Wow.
I couldn't have asked for anything more. My mom was ecstatic to know that my college education was going to be paid for, okay, that I had an opportunity in case something happened to me, that I had something to fall back on, and George covered me on that. George was a human being. George was more than a scout that cared about himself making money. George cared about the kids on a humanitarian level. George knew the game of baseball. He knew the players he signed, not just as ball players, but as human beings. And you look at every one of those guys he sold, you know, to the ball clubs, or scouted for, drafted them, whatever. I call them sold because that's what happens. They basically turned out to be pretty good guys. I mean, not all of them, but most of them. And went on to do good things. And George was that a special type of person that cared about you. Right before George passed away, I get an email. He's reaching out to me. And he says, I need to talk to you. Here's my number. Give me a call. I call him up. This was before I did the picture of him, okay? And he's talking. I said, George, I said, tell me one thing. How could you be such a traitor? He goes, what do you mean? I said, I know you're from Brooklyn, New York, but, you know, you're wearing Dodger blue. You're making my heart sing in the wrong direction. You're, you know, black and orange. He goes, oh, no. I've always been a Dodger fan. He says, but, you know, you got to make a living in this game, so you kind of go to the other side. And I start laughing. He starts laughing. He goes, only you, Johnny, would throw that at me. And he still called me Johnny. Go figure, okay?
Wow.
He died at 93. This is going to make your skin crawl. He died at 93. I'm 63. 30 years difference. And, you know, it's crazy. It's just crazy. And the day he died, I get a phone call from a good friend of mine, Kenny Medlock. And he goes, Johnny, bad news. George passed away. I said, I knew it was coming because George told me. That's why he was reaching out to the players. so he could say goodbye to every single one of them that he signed, if they were alive, that he could reach out and touch every single kid he signed.
Wow.
And I got so close with George. I mean, we were chatting with each other every day, and I knew he was about to pass because he was very, he would tell me stuff like, geez, I really like your artwork. And I'd go, well, thanks, George. And then I'd pick up the phone and call him. I said, so you really like it, huh? I said, you want me to do one for you? I said, let me do this. Let me surprise you. I'll do two for you. I'll do one of those collages you like, but I'm going to find a picture of you, and I'm going to sketch it for you. And I said, and I hope you like it. So I did it. I knuckled down and focused on getting the collage done, got that done, put that up for him, and then I did the one where he was sitting down at Dodger Stadium in his Dodger hat, all dressed in blue. It was a great picture, and it explains George Genovese to a T. If you look at the wrinkles on the man's face, those are the wrinkles of time and experience of what George went through to be where he was, to sit in that seat at that time. And all the kids that he signed and gave them a chance to go and play Major League Baseball and continue their legacy, George Genovese was responsible for it. And if you didn't get signed by George, you got signed by Chick, his brother.
Wow. Wow. You know, like I said, I had a chance to chat with him. We had him on for, I don't know, it was probably about a half an hour. And, you know, he was, he was talking about playing baseball in the 40s. And I get so excited, like I said, you know, chatting with Carl Erskine and all those guys. I love talking with the old timers. And I mean, because they tell a different story about the game the way it used to be. And it was, I mean, yes, it's baseball, but it was so different. And George was, like I said, George was kind of like Rocky Bridges for me. And you know, Rocky, who was just this gregarious guy who loved the game of baseball. And I mean, Rocky was one of the best. And I never got Rocky on the show. I was close a couple of times, but man, you know, those guys and talking about playing baseball in the 40s and 50s, you know, and it's awesome. It's awesome to listen, you know, and like George, you know, George played minor league ball, but yet listening to the stories, you know, and you can, you know, when you sit and listen to them, you can envision it. You could actually close your eyes and you could see it. And I mean, he was a great storyteller. From what I know of George, which isn't much, from what I hear, was a great man. And you know what? Yeah, he wore Dodger blue. You know, as a Giants fan, okay, I'll look the other way. You know, it's baseball.
We all do. We all do, Norm.
It's funny. So Carl Erskine, I asked Carl Erskine about retiring from baseball and going to coach at Anderson College at the time, back home and where he was from. And he said he walked in, he took over the baseball team. He said he walked in the locker room and he noticed one thing was wrong. He said that the uniforms were orange and black. And he knew as a Dodger that he had to change those colors. So he had to change the color scheme. So it's kind of funny because you get it from Dodger guys as well, you know. And, you know, I love the Giant-Dodger rivalry. You know, it's crappy on what happened to Brian Stowe and everything else. But generally speaking, you know, it's a love-hate deal. I mean, I've never had any issues wearing my Giant stuff going into Dodger Stadium. And, you know, it's a great rivalry.
Oh, yeah. I remember when I used to warm up in the bullpen at the Dodger Stadium, and I'd get cups and beer and peanuts and hot dogs thrown at me and go out and beat him 6-2. And then my next time I'd get up and it'd be more artillery coming down at me, you know. The the next time I would pitch, and it just never ended. It never ended. And I had more stuff thrown at me because, you know, I went out and beat Bert Hooton for his 20th game, and beat him one game in L.A., and then came back and beat him in San Diego, and he didn't get his 20th win, and they really didn't like me then, you know? So, you know, it's been a rivalry that's been going on for years, and all the way, you know, since it started back in the Polo Grounds in Everett Field.
Yep.
You know, and those are things that you basically, you know, that's what made the Giant-Dodger rivalry so good and what it is today, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, now you got you know, Bumgarner and Kershaw going at it. It's alive. It's alive and well. It's alive and well.
Very alive and well.
So once again, the good Dr. John D Acquisto. Now, I chatted with you a little bit about our 15 days of Christmas. So we're doing 15 days of giveaway, and we're trying to we're giving back. And so we're giving back to our listeners. And so every day we're going to come up with a different giveaway. So winners will get like 2 Clubhouse Chatter shirt, and then something from, you know, somebody who's been on the show or one of our sponsors. And now I chatted briefly with you about possibly doing an art piece for the show for the winner. And so I will let you know on the day that we're going to do that, and then I will get you in. I'll get the winner in touch with you. And
I would be very happy to do that, and it's your choice and your selection on what you want.
Okay.
Done.
So there we go. So
you tell me, and this will be kind of fun. You tell me what you want. I'll do the piece, and then you tell me if you like it.
Okay.
And
there we go.
Go ahead and give it away. Okay?
All right. Sounds good. Hey, John, it's always great having you on the show and chatting baseball with you, chatting life. You know,
Thanks.
I mean, baseball, you know, baseball for me is life. And, you know, I've shared, you know, my passion with you quite a few times now. And, you know, I have a passion for the game of baseball, and I love to share it.
I love sharing it with you. You're a great interview. You pick the right subjects, and you make your subject matter is impeccable. Okay, and I just enjoy it. I have just as much passion about baseball as you do, and you know that. When we get together, we always talk sense about the good game that we love.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a game we love.
Absolutely. All right, good doctor.
Thank you for having me.
I will keep in touch with you, and I'll be chatting with you a little bit later.
You got it, Normie. Take care. Have a good one.
You too. Thanks a lot. All right. Once again, John D Acquisto. So there you go, guys. John D Acquisto is throwing a piece of artwork in, and the winner of this piece of artwork will let you know what date it is. You get to choose what you want, and then he'll do something, and he'll give you your option whether you like it or not. That's a pretty cool deal.
It's very cool.
And so you could go to the Clubhouse Chatter page, and you could see the piece he did for us, and it was pretty cool. You know, so it was pretty cool. He does great stuff. A good man. You know, still working in the business, man. He's got the cush job doing video. I'd love to do something like that. You know, one of these days, Brian. One of these days.
It'll happen.
One of these days. All right, so I'm Norm. That's producer Brian. Hey, 15 Days of Christmas. Brian and Norm's 15 Days of Christmas going on.
How do you win?
How do you win? It's simple. Go to Twitter. Like us on Twitter. Clubhouse Chatter with 1 T. There's one entry. Go to the Facebook page. Like Clubhouse Chatter on Facebook. Comment. There's another entry. I will pick a random winner. It's about 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then I'll post what tomorrow's prize is. So what do you win? So you win a pair of Zeus Bats batting gloves. So probably worth $35, I would say. You also get 2 Yamhill Sports Today / Clubhouse Chatter mugs. You'll also get 2 Clubhouse Chatter t-shirts. And you'll get an autographed copy of Fritz Peterson, former Yankee, when the Yankees were on the Fritz, revisiting the Horace Clarke era. And it is autographed personally by Fritz. And so Fritz has been on the show. And so 2 t-shirts, 2 mugs, a pair of batting gloves. That is what we got for today. Tomorrow, 6 o'clock a.m., hey, be following us and see what you could win. We got some pretty cool prizes. We're going to end it on the 15th, and it's going to be tickets to Gordy's Highway 30 Music Fest. My good friend Gordy Schroeder of Smoke and Shoulder Productions, Idaho. So you gotta want to be traveling to Idaho in June to go to this music fest. They're like $300 for the pair. You get 2 VIP passes. MDM Designs, Mark Canham is going to throw in some Gordy Highway 30 music swag and some Clubhouse Chatter swag. Also, I think I'm going to add baseball isms into that prize pack as well. I'm not sure what they're going to give away, but if you like my hat, go to baseballism.com. Check them out. They do believe they have their Cyber Monday stuff going on. I believe 20% off. Check them out, baseballisms.com. So once again, we are sponsored by Baseballism, baseballism.com. Check them out. Baseballdudes.com. To be the best, you must train like the best. Chris Gazelle up there in Vancouver, Washington. Also up there in Washington is Mitch Canham and Brent Lillibridge, former White Sox, building an athlete sports education, basebypros.com. His dad, Mark Canham, who does great stuff, does our shirts and stuff for the show. Check him out, MDM Designs. As always, we stream live at yamhilltoday.com. Check out Brian and YST every Saturday morning and talk sports, football, basketball, whatever. Sometimes I'm on there chatting baseball. Sometimes I'm not. Hey, if you'd like to sponsor the show, get in touch, normbo18@gmail.com. We're on Twitter, Clubhouse Chatter, 1T, Facebook, Clubhouse Chatter with Norm. We're also on YouTube, iTunes, MLB.com blogs. Check us out. So I'm Norm. That is Brian. Have a great week. We'll see you next Tuesday. I believe DJ Jackson of Two Hand Pros will be one of our guests. Hey, thanks. Go Wildcats.